Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a specific piece of reporting in front of us today. It's an Axios article from June 1st, 2025, and the title is Ukraine Drone Strikes on Russia. So think of this deep dive as, well, your shortcut to understanding what this particular source is highlighting. Our mission really is to quickly zero in on the most important insights. What does this article tell us about Ukraine using drones inside Russia? Specifically, the types of targets mentioned and the reported effects.
That's right. And when we look at a piece like this, the key is figuring out what details this reporter chose to focus on. This Axios article, it's very tightly focused on drone strikes within Russia, and it really dedicates quite a bit of space to describing what was supposedly hit and what happened afterwards, according to their reporting, of course.
Right. So let's dig into what the article actually says about those targets then. It doesn't just say, infrastructure vaguely. It seems to get more specific. The report highlights strikes on energy facilities, things like oil depots, refineries, some located hundreds of kilometers from the border.
Yeah, that's a key detail in the text. It also mentions hits on logistics hubs and, in some cases, military-related infrastructure, too, like radar stations or maybe training grounds within Russian territory itself. The article does list several specific locations and types of facilities that, well, that Axios reports have been targeted.
Mm. What's interesting there, I think, is the geographic spread you mentioned, but also the nature of those targets described
Yeah.
in the article. I mean, focusing on energy and logistics. That suggests, based on the reporting, an intent to disrupt fuel supplies, maybe transport capabilities.
Well, it certainly points that way in the text. And the inclusion of military targets, as noted in the source, that seems to indicate efforts to degrade Russia's military assets and their support structures, really wherever they might be located, even far from the front lines. Again, this is all as reported by Axios.
Exactly. Okay, so moving from the targets,
Mhm.
what about the reported effects? What did the article say was the outcome of these strikes?
It details instances of, well, significant fires at energy sites, for example, causing temporary shutdowns, maybe decreases in production, according to the report.
Okay, so tangible impacts described.
Yeah, and for logistics targets, it mentions disruptions. Things like supply lines, transport nodes being affected. Now, the article might not give, a full damage assessment for every single strike it mentions, but it does describe these kinds of impacts, infrastructure damage, operational delays as reported by its sources. It presents them as consequences.
Right, so it's not just saying strikes happened. It's giving some specifics within its reporting about the consequences.
Precisely. It might cite, say, local officials or perhaps analysis of drone footage to describe the scale of damage, or maybe how long a service was interrupted at a specific facility that was hit. The article definitely presents these reported effects as significant enough to be worth highlighting in their piece.
Okay, so boiling it down, based strictly on this June 1st, 2025 Axios article, we see a clear focus in their reporting on energy and logistics infrastructure, plus some military targets, often deep inside Russia.
And the reported effects described are centered around disruption and physical damage to these specific types of sites.
So if we connect all that just based on what's in this Axios report, thinking about the types of targets it highlights, the effects it describes, it kind of leads to a question for you, the listener, doesn't it?
It does, based solely on this specific reporting from Axios. What strategic priorities, maybe what capabilities do these documented targets and reported effects suggest Ukraine is emphasizing? According to this article, what does their approach look like? Something for you to consider based purely on what this source tells us.